Yeah. Yeah, no, because I said that too. I was like, I just. Hello, all. Welcome to this year's Black Solidarity Summit. I'm so glad to see some new faces, and we're glad to welcome some of the other faces that we've seen over the years. I do have to say this presentation is being recorded by the Missoula Community Access Television as part of a media assistance grant donated to my organization, the BSU, by MCAT. So let's thank them for that. First up, we have Seth Bodnar, the university president, to talk about what he does here.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody, and thanks for letting me spend a few minutes with you. And don't worry, I'm not going to talk and bore everybody with what I actually do here, because sometimes I wonder about that myself on days. But you know, my primary purpose of wanting to be here with you tonight is to say thank you. Thank you for coming together. Thank you for continuing with the Black Solidarity Summit. This is something that, I mean, you're trying to remember, was 2018 the first year, or was it 2017? Does anybody, Murray might remember, was it 2018 or 2017? 2017, okay. So first one I came to was the second. So I missed the first one, so I wasn't here yet, but I've been here each year, and these are really important events for our campus. You know, whenever I talk about the University of Montana, I always try to simplify this university's mission. You know, every university has a big, long mission statement, and I always share with folks that, you know, essentially you can boil the mission of this university down to two words, and those two words are inclusive prosperity. And that means that our job down, you know, at its essence, is to help every single member of our community. You know, regardless of where you come from, what you look like, how much money your parents have, what's the color of your skin, who you love, every single person. Our job is to make sure that they can achieve their unique full potential. And events like the Black Solidarity Summit are a great example of the ways in which we do that. And that means that you know, sometimes that living into that vision of inclusive prosperity means that we have to have some hard conversations. We have to show up. We have to engage openly about the things that we're making progress on, but the work that we still have to do. And there's a lot of work that we still have to do as a society, as a university, to live into that vision of inclusive prosperity, to address the systemic barriers that so many members of our community still face. And that's work that doesn't end. That's work that we're committed to. And that's work that you're leading here tonight. And that takes courage to do that. It takes a lot of time to do that. I want to thank the planners of tonight's event. You all put in a lot of work to make tonight's event and tomorrow's events happen. And you're helping this university, this community, to get better and to be better. And I want to thank you. I've learned a lot from participating in sessions in the Black Solidarity Summit over the years. I've learned from Tobin teaching me. I've learned from conversations, and I've been better. I've become better. I still have a lot to learn. I still have a lot to do. And this summit is one of the ways in which that happens. But it doesn't happen without leadership. It doesn't happen without people like, you know, Murray, who's been doing this work here in Missoula, Montana for coming up to probably close to half a century now, almost, Murray. Which he's gonna hit me after this, maybe. He's the big dude, so I gotta maybe watch out. But I say that because, you know, and I don't want to speak for Murray, but like, this doesn't change overnight. But we're getting better and better. And then we have places where we recognize, boy, we're still a long way from where we need to be. And I just want this group to know that I'm very grateful for the work you're doing, for the conversations you're engaging in, the productive ones, the hard ones. And I hope that all of you continue these types of dialogues, these types of conversations throughout your life. That you follow the example that Murray set, that this is work that's never done, and you got to keep engaging in it. And I really am grateful to each and every one of you for being part of making this university, making this community, making this society more inclusive, and helping us live into to the true vision of this university. So thank you all for letting me spend some time with you tonight, and I look forward to a great day of events tomorrow. I'm going to try to come in for some of them as I can. I got a bunch of commitments tomorrow, but I know it's a great slate of events tomorrow, and I wish y'all a great time during those. And again, thanks very much for being here. I'll turn it back over to you.
Up next, we have Leslie Webb, who's here to speak about student success. So let's give her a hand.
It's interesting. President Bodnar has said some of the things that I was thinking about sharing with you this evening. So maybe they're as important and worth underscoring. So Jasmine asked me to speak some thoughts about student success, and to do so I really have to start by naming that student success or educational achievement isn't really just about personal drive or interest. It is a matter of equity, it is a matter of justice, and it's about the potential of our collective. And I'd be remiss in not naming the historical and systemic challenges that have hindered students, and particularly Black and other minoritized students, over time. And the painful history that continues to inform present-day disparities in funding or resources or opportunities. Black students have faced barriers on their educational paths. And these barriers have a direct impact on how a student feels about their education, how they move through their communities, and how they demonstrate agency and voice. And despite these challenges, this is what I've seen in my short year and a half at the University of Montana. Determination, contribution, brilliance. And it humbles me. And I recognize my own intersecting identities here and in this work, and the associated privileges attached to that. And I'm watching and I see firsthand the efforts made to strengthen community right here in this space. That effort has come to fruition. So thank you to those, I see you, Jasmine, who have spent an abundance of time putting together a relevant and meaningful couple of days designed to educate, to invite, to share community together. And as President Bodnar mentioned, we have work to do, and we know that. We must continue to address structural or other inequities that exist, that persist within our own educational system. And this requires a community of committed folks to dismantle policy and practices that exclude, likely unintentionally, and to challenge implicit bias to ensure fairness and inclusion permeates everything we do at this university. And we know that when students, and I'm going to add staff and faculty, when we know that when we feel valued and supported for all that we bring to this community, that we matter and belong to something bigger than ourselves, that we're more likely, that you're more likely to succeed academically and in the 150 hours you spend outside the classroom each week. And we all, and I'm going to name us as educators and parents and policymakers and presidents and community members, we need to work together to create environments that foster that belonging, that empower students to reach their full potential And y'all, we need to celebrate the wins too. And this is a win. And I would also add that we need to prioritize cultural consciousness. And what I mean by that is the way that we think and move through our world, the way that we open ourselves up to being expansive, to be curious, to continue to evolve. I'm not going to share my age with you, but I will tell you that I'm still learning and growing and evolving. Students need to see themselves reflected in their learning and environment. The cultural assets that Black students bring to this place enhance and elevate the entire educational experience for everyone. And we know, and we want every single student to come to the University of Montana and develop the knowledge, the skills, the disposition, and to turn all that into a compelling story for an employer, for a graduate school committee, or for the Peace Corps. And we know that we need to continue to ensure that our student support systems are inclusive, accessible, and open to changing and evolving as the world around us does the same. To achieve that end is a moral imperative, and I'm committing to you as a new person and a new member of this community. I will commit to you. I commit to this place. I will continue to learn, to listen, and to dedicate my time to this cause, and thank you as stakeholders for all you're doing to unlock the full potential of all of our students. Thank you for having me here today.
Okay, I'm gonna get started. Hello, my name is Abby, and I am mixed race. I am adopted and transitioning back to life in America after living overseas for the past 5 years. I am adopted, but don't worry, I am not too far disconnected from the immense culture of Bellingham, Washington State. Being mixed race and growing up in a white household has not only affected me, it's also had my adoptive parents answering strange questions. I'm originally from Anchorage, Alaska, and my mother remembers stupid questions she would get asked when I was 1 and 2 years old. How do you get her hair so curly? How do you get her skin so dark? My mom would answer these with equally stupid answers. Oh, we perm her hair every day, and she goes under a tanning bed every day. It's quite literally, ask a stupid question, get a stupid answer. I also get asked by children in 7th and 8th grade if my white sister and I was really my sister because we didn't look or sound alike. While I tried to hide my sadness, these comments and questions hurt me. I know I don't look like my sister, but have it pointed out so blatantly and sometimes rudely hurt. Being adopted is a huge part of my identity, but growing up not in touch with my African roots and not knowing any of the culture made me a bit of an outcast. I had my Black teacher in 7th grade who, one day, turned to me and started talking about how Black moms act. I could only pretend to understand as I felt included and seen. I had never been included in a conversation about Black culture like that, and I felt powerful even though I was clueless. The people you see on this slide are my biological parents who gave me up for adoption. I can only wonder what life would have been like if I stayed with them. When the science teacher started talking to me about Black moms, I thought about my mother, Yolanda, and what she would have been like as a mother in a different universe. When I went to school in Texas, I was one of 2 Black students. During class changes, the only other Black kid turned to me and said, "I bet your Black mother regrets making you impure, you mulatto. Go piss on her grave." For those not familiar, mulatto is a derogatory term used against mixed people. Learning to take care of my curls was a long journey, filled with a lot of YouTube and Instagram videos. Yesterday, I was wearing my Bantu knots out loud and proud, and today I'm wearing my natural mixed curls proudly. I feel like racism is downplayed overseas, especially in Europe. I lived in Azerbaijan, which is south of Russia and north of Iran, next to the Caspian Sea. I went to an international middle and high school, where I was one of 4 and 5 Black students, and where there were only 2 Black teachers. As of today, there's 1. Without really knowing it, the 4 Black students and teachers bonded together. It was nice to have people you could talk to about Black experiences and they could relate. However, because there were so few of us, we got asked some insane questions. I will never forget when a Turkish student a year below me came up to me and said he would pay me to make him an N-word pass. A few days after I said no, that same person came up to me and said they could buy an N-word pass on Amazon or Etsy, and the only thing stopping him was the fact that customs would take too long to get his package to him. I know this student meant this as a joke, but there are some things that can be taken too far, such as this. The fact that he went home and looked up if he could buy an N-word pass is horrifying. Sadly, this wasn't the only racist joke I faced at that school. Were our police cars of black people? Ubers. That was a joke that started online that was told directly to me by a white student. Afterward, that student laughed. I didn't. I had one teacher in my last 2 years of high school that was possibly one of the worst people to talk to about race or racial inequality. I remember there was a time when she came in with cornrows done on thin, straight hair. Based on the length, it was obvious she had gotten extensions in. The worst part, the braids were so tight, I could tell she was going to have bald spots. She came up to me and asked if I liked her crazy parts of the Caribbean hair. She had them taken out a few days later. Internally, I told you so. When I was in 11th grade, my drama teacher got the rights to the musical play Moana. My 11th grade drama class was part of the directing and casting process, so our teacher would run ideas past us. Before our auditions, our teacher said she had the idea to cast an Azerbaijani student as Moana, then paint her face and body black. While I sat there, stunned, she thankfully came to her own conclusion that what she was thinking of would be seen as blackface. When I said I could play Moana if she wanted a darker-skinned actor, she said I was too dark. Compared to other black people, I am quite light-skinned. One thing that this comment brings up is colorism. This is when you have a bias to people's skin color. In America, people have a bias against people with darker skin tones, while people with my skin tone are perceived as better. Social media influencer Blair Monty, who you may know from her series Smarter in Seconds on Instagram, has a similar skin tone to me. She said this in a recent video about Black History Month do's and don'ts. If you're only learning about people from around my skin tone, you need to confront your colorist biases. Racial education is something a lot of these people lack. It's not my job to educate people on race. That takes time, energy, and patience, all which I do not have. When there are students of color, teachers, and faculty, students should have resources available to them for education, and not just during Black History Month. I remember going to one of the guidance counselors after that police car joke was made to me. She said that this would be a great time to educate people on why that joke was inappropriate. I was crying inconsolably. Being mixed has come with a lot of struggles against systemic and internalized racism. However, we have to learn, not to look past our struggle, but to look through it. We can get there collectively while dismantling racist ideologies, thoughts, ideas, and stereotypes about mixed people. However, this is a Black Solidarity Summit, not the Black Sympathy Summit. This is what comes with being mixed. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Would you say that racism is better or worse? Like, would you say that America has, let's see, better balance on it, or would you say that Europe does, or is it just kind of equally bad in both places?
I would say Europe has more racism. Like, when I was over there, I would go to like the principal about these like issues that happen. And they said like, oh, just brush it off. It's not that big of a deal. Happens to everybody. While here, people are, I say, like, more actively trying to take a stance and like do something about it. It's like here it's better, and I felt surprisingly more comfortable than I did overseas, which is not how I thought that was gonna work. Like the transition here is a lot easier than it was over there, where I would get like pointed at, looked at. I had my picture taken one time when I was 11. Some guys came up, took a selfie of me, then left. That was creepy. Yeah, I feel like I was looked at as like a exotic, and while here I'm looked at as more normal, like a actual human. Thank you.
Abby,
Yes.
so first off, thank you for your candor, vulnerability.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. It took a lot of courage to do that. So
Thank you.
secondly, if you had a chance to talk to administration here, what would you tell them that mixed students and students of color in general need from them in terms of support?
That's a good question. Okay.
Feel free to take your time. And
Yeah.
figure it out. And we can even revisit it later.
I feel like that we have like we shouldn't be looked at as just like full white or full black. We're like a mixture of both races. I feel like putting us in a box that like we're white or we're black is not what we need to be. Remember, like in Trevor Noah, who's a mixed South African comedian, had a book, and he talked about how we're too black for white people and we're too white for black people. And so being able to understand that we have an identity that is just not one or the other is very important. And that we, like, sorry, like that we have our own identity and we shouldn't just be forced into boxes. Yeah, sorry. Thank you. Yeah.
Can you elaborate more on what you were just talking about with not being just white or not being just black, and like how maybe you handle balancing that growing up?
Yeah, it's like my adoptive family is all white, and I'm like obviously more darker, and I have different hair than them. It's kind of like about fitting in. It's like you try and like act white to fit in with like the people who are white, and that doesn't work. Then you try and act black, and you try to fit in the black crowd, which also doesn't work. And so I didn't really have that many mixed race friends growing up. They're either like black or white, and so learning that like I don't have to change myself to fit into one of those groups was difficult, but something that I needed to learn about, as like I have two amazing cultures both in me, and learning about both of them is very highly important. Yeah.
Because your parents or your adopted parents are both white, how did you go about learning more about your black identity and black history?
A lot of social media. Like I remember like in 2020, I would like just spend days on YouTube trying to like figure out what was good for my hair, different protective hairstyles. Started like sleeping in like bonnets and like sat in pillowcases and everything. Which like my mom, when I was younger, she tried, but like my hair was like all over the place. It's like learning like about that helped. And like my birth mother didn't grow up with her black father in the home, and she's also in foster care, so she was very disconnected from everything as well. It's like just like we learning together, we would read like a lot of like books that like feature black main characters or people who faced racial inequality in literature also helped, because it was like the first time I was seeing myself in books. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. Welcome back. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your breakout rooms. Right now it's kind of around 11:15. We're going a little bit late, but we're going to start our I Don't Like It When video presentation. So the first video displayed is from the BSU nearly 10 years ago, and this is their first video. And then we'll show you our video that we made this year.
So if we were all black right now, we would say that I'm black or I'm white, you know. We'd just say, this is my fellow human being.
I don't like when people stereotype me. People think all black people eat chicken or watermelon. Some of my friends will joke around with it, and I know it's a joke, but can we just get over all the different stereotypes about black people?
I don't like when you make assumptions about me. I have people all the time ask if I play basketball or if I'm on the football team.
I don't like when people call me whitewashed, and I don't think that because I try to be intelligent, I'm necessarily white, because you're pretty much saying that white people are the only people that can be intelligent.
I don't like when people call me ghetto. Whenever I got pulled over from a police officer, he was like, where do you get your car, or where do you get your clothes from? And, you know, I buy this stuff with my own money, man. I work hard. Everybody thinks like I robbed somebody or robbed someone's house, I jumped somebody, just because of the way I act, the way I talk, the way I look like.
I don't really like when people use Africa as a reference point for hunger and poverty. Like, poverty is a global thing, hunger is a global thing, so it doesn't only affect Africa, it affects all of us.
I don't like when people assume I can't swim. So get him some floaties. Let me know if you need me to save you. Anybody can take a joke too far.
I don't like when my potential is underestimated. I only say that because I've experienced it. I have a lot to offer. I have a lot to say, and I have so much to give, but that's always overlooked because of the first impression. Oh, she's black. Oh, she's going to be ghetto. She's going to be, you know, a problem.
I don't like when people assume that I can dance. Just you have to do it. This is a kind of stereotype. I suppose that everybody could dance because it's just following the rhythm.
I don't like when I become the ambassador for my race. I've had the experience of being the only person of color in a lot of my classes. You know, you are automatically the representative of how black people think, how they react, how they dress, how they perform in class. You're the voice for every black person on the planet, and it just gets really tiring.
Or don't assume I'm from a certain place. I'm Belizean American technically, so I'm fine with identifying as black, but it's not African American. There's a difference.
From Colombia, and here in the United States, you are black and you are Latin American.
Like, I'm from Haiti, and everybody thinks I'm black, but I honestly, like, I'm Haitian. I'm not African American.
It's kind of hard when people just lump you into one group, not knowing anything about you.
For example, if I walk into a restaurant or a store and literally everyone turns their head and stares at me for a good 5 minutes, that's definitely where I feel different. I feel like an alien almost.
Why is something, you know, attacking my personality and attacking me as a human being swept under the rug?
In Colombia, it's so hard to get another apartment where you are black. Doesn't matter if you have the money. It was hard for me because I have my bachelor degree, and you say, okay, I can pay for that. But you realize that you have the money, but you are black. You can do anything.
There's been times where I'm just walking across the street when I'm like in elementary school, and then people walk the other way or go across the street, and I'm just like another human being.
You get that sense of, well, I'm intimidating just by my presence, you know, so I always have to constantly, which I really feel I shouldn't do, is slip into the background.
Until I was maybe in middle school, I didn't want to be black. I wanted to be white because I wanted to be like everyone else, and I didn't like feeling different or unique, and but I definitely grew into my skin.
To me, being black means being who you are and loving yourself.
Because babies are babies, whether born black, brown, or white. If you put them together, they'll play. No one knows their own skin color until the very day they see themselves in the mirror.
So you can't just judge a person by the color.
Like if you think it could be racist, it probably could be.
Just try to be aware.
Be conscious of people's feelings.
Honestly, it's just the golden rule, whether you're a religious person or not. You know, you just treat other people how you want to be treated, and that just means respect.
I'm a normal person. We're all different. We're all unique.
It's all about bringing information forward and educating people more about what we're all about, just humans, because we all bleed red, you know.
I think we're making progress.
I don't like it when
I don't.
Well, this is our video from this year that we made. So this is the recent. Enjoy.
like it when
I don't like it.
I don't like it when I don't like it when people come up to me and try and touch my hair.
Uninvited hair touching, an issue that primarily affects Black women and girls, is an invasion of personal space. Unwanted hair touching is an issue that has been and is still rooted in racism. Unfortunately, a lot of Black individuals, including men and women, experience this on a regular basis.
I don't like it when other white queer people ignore the contributions that queer Black people have made for our rights.
Throughout time, there has been several queer people of color that have changed the course of history. Let's list a few. Bayard Rustin was a prominent gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender advocate and civil rights leader. He was a key advisor to the late civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and helped organize the March on Washington in 1963. After Rustin's death, the president awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in the United States, in 2013. Lori Lightfoot, a former prosecutor with no political experience, won over 50 Chicago City Council districts in the 2019 mayor runoff after campaigning on her promise to put an end to Chicago's notorious black room dealing. She is the city's first Black female mayor and first openly gay mayor. James Baldwin, the famous writer, is best known for his 1955 collection of essays, Notes of a Nature Son, and his amazing 1956 novel, Giovanni's Room, which depicts several themes of homosexuality and bisexuality. Though the fight for queer people of color started a while back, the people in this community still continue their pursuits to justice.
I don't like it when people tell me that I speak good English, because I'm from a different country and English is my second language.
Not all English speakers are treated equally. In any country, some types of English offer fewer advantages than others. For example, in the United States, the language of African Americans is still misunderstood and treated differently. On a global level, some English speakers are judged based on their perception of their citizenship or race, rather than their ability to communicate effectively. This is called linguistic racism. Though someone may mean it as a compliment, it makes it apparent that there are prior assumptions about the individual's intelligence, background, and basic levels of understanding. A simple phrase like, "you speak good English," often comes off as a backhanded compliment.
I don't like it when people ask me where I'm from, and when I tell them Texas, they're like, "No, where are you from?" Like that's gonna change my answer.
There is no right or wrong way to ask someone about their race, ethnicity, or heritage, but you should know that your words may have some repercussions. The person you're curious about would be right to think that you're asking them these questions because of their skin color. If the first thing you ask a black person is, "What's your ethnicity?" then it can come across badly. This isn't because black people feel insulted by curiosity in general. It's because, often, black people are tired of only being experienced through the white lens. When asking someone a question, like, "Where are you from?" it is better to accept the first answer they give you than dig for more information. In most cases, the first answer the individual gives is what they want you to know.
I don't like when people ask me, "How did you get here? Why are you here?"
There should never be a time when any person should be made to feel unwelcome in a public place. The question, "How did you get here?" has many hidden implications that make a person feel uncomfortable. With the addition of the question, "Why are you here?" it shows what little knowledge the person asking the question has. In any public place, anyone and everyone has the right to be there without having to be interrogated on the how and why. Though many people who are asked this question might seem to be fine, in most cases, they are extremely uncomfortable and feel disrespected. No one should feel like they are unwanted in a place that all are welcome. While there is no one-size-fits-all solution to eliminate racial injustice, the first step is to embrace the uncomfortable conversations and truths that we have become so used to avoiding. In this new era of Black Lives Matter, with heightened racial sensitivity, many white people approach blacks with some hesitation and fear of not knowing what to say. Similarly, many black people want to speak up but feel limited, so they choose to fume inside. In this moment, natural hesitation and pull toward political correctness on both sides may be costing us desperately needed collective change, so it is worth the risk to start sharing. It is important to remember that racism does not only manifest in extreme forms. In fact, there is a range of racist thoughts and behaviors that you may be a part of. This is because the word racism has been so watered down in our culture that it is only recognized in its most extreme forms. With all of that in mind, it's important to be empathetic towards all, and not be afraid to obtain knowledge on microaggressions, diversity, and more. By staying knowledgeable, everyone can benefit and help create a safe space for all to thrive and feel accepted. If you're looking to get involved and learn more, please visit our Instagram page, UM_BSU, and reach out.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed those videos and learned a little bit more about whether that is diversity or microaggressions. We're going to be getting into our Black History Trivia event where there are prizes. We have a third, second, and first place winning position, and yes, the questions are fairly hard, but it's so we can ensure no one gets tied. So there'll be no fighting over any gifts. So we're gonna get started on those questions. You have a minute each, and there are 30 questions. So I'm gonna hand out a few blank sheets of paper. If you do need writing utensils, we will find some for you. Make sure to write your name. You are able to work as a team, but I'm just letting you know you will have to split the prize as a team. So let me get those papers for you guys. Alrighty, let's get this trivia started. I have high hopes for you. You know, you don't know Tobin, he is the African American history professor, so hopefully he knows his stuff. Alrighty. So you have 1 minute for each question. There are 30. So the first question we have is, we're going to go over the basics, things that you should have learned in school. Where did Martin Luther King Jr. deliver his famous "I Have a Dream" speech? Your time starts now. All right, we're already on to question 2. Who was the first African American and Native American woman to hold a pilot license? Time starts now. Next question. Madam C.J. Walker is known as the first Black self-made millionaire. What product led her to her success? Time starts now. Next question. Soul Train was created and hosted by which famous TV presenter? I am so excited for your answers. Next question. 5. Who was the first Black woman to serve as a U.S. Supreme Court Justice? Time starts now. Next question. All right, so we're moving on to Black athletes. Hopefully this, gets the weight off of some people's shoulders. Maybe not so much for others. We'll see. So our first question, 6. At what age did Serena Williams win her first U.S. Open? Next question. What was Muhammad Ali's nickname? Next question. Jesse Owens is considered one of the greatest athletes of his time in which sport? Next question. LeBron James has played for the Cleveland Cavaliers, LA Lakers, and... Next question. What is Tiger Woods' given name? You can just give me the first name, first and last. Next question, and next category, I think. We have Black actors. Maybe you guys, I see some who are excited, some who are not so excited. I think in this category, there is one multiple choice answer, so that might help you out a little bit. First question. Oh, there it is. Which of the following actresses is an EGOT recipient, which is Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony? And for this one, you get 30 seconds. Next question. Who played Uncle Phil in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? All right, we're on to our next question. Also, if you've just joined us, feel free to grab a paper and try your chances at trivia if you'd like. They're on these center tables, and there's also pens and paper if you'd like to join. It's not too late. 13. Which sports movie did Michael B. Jordan star in? Next question. Which Disney Channel show did Zendaya make her acting debut in? Hey, y'all better not be looking up the answers over there. Next question. Which comedian played Crown Prince Akeem in the movie Coming to America? Next question, and I think next category, we have Black musicians. All right, is everyone ready? What was Whitney Houston's greatest selling hit song? Nope, she did not have to write it. Just her greatest selling hit. Next question. What was Beyoncé's first solo album called? Next question. Which singer is remembered as the Queen of Jazz? At first, I thought you guys were sitting around and the questions were too easy. I was like, I might have to cut the time. All right. Next question. Ice Cube was one of the founding members of which hip-hop group? You guys are totally welcome to come in and join us for trivia. Next question. Which Motown group was Diana Ross a member of? Next question. We are on the category of enslavement and abolition. What prominent Black American abolitionist and woman rights advocate gave the Ain't I a Woman speech in 1851? Next question. What famous novel by Harriet Beecher Stowe depicted the harsh realities of slavery and became one of the most influential anti-slavery works in the 19th century? Hey John, can you put on our music? Thank you. Next question. What famous Black American abolitionist and former slave gave the "What to the Slave is the 4th of July" speech in 1852? Next question. Who was the Black American educator, author, and orator who founded the Tuskegee Institute, a school dedicated to the education of Blacks in the post-Civil War era? Next question. Who is the Black American orator and writer who wrote the influential speech addressed to the slaves of the United States and advocated for slave rebellion and self-emancipation? All right, next question, next topic. We have Black music, not musicians, but music. What style of music originated in Black American communities in the southern United States and combines the elements of spiritual, work songs, and the blues? Next question. In the early 1900s, what style of music featuring intricate guitar picking and storytelling lyrics became a cornerstone of the blues genre? Next question. Which musical genre often associated with New Orleans New Orleans blends African, European, and Caribbean influences and is known for its brass bands. Next question. What is the name of the influential record label founded by Berry Gordy Jr. in Detroit, which played a pivotal role in the development of Motown music? All right, moving towards our last question. What term is commonly used to describe the fusion of rhythm and blues and gospel music leading to the birth of rock and roll? Alrighty, that is the end of our Black History trivia. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I can't wait to see those answers. I heard a lot of giggling. Not just from you guys. So just make sure to have your name or your team name on your papers, and please drop them off at this table over here, and I will look through them, and then after lunch we'll see who gets first, second, and third place prizes. Thank you guys for participating. It's time for lunch.